Hi everybody, Jim Phillips here. Welcome to another episode of Java with Jim. I appreciate you being here with me. As I usually say, I know you've got a lot of other things you can do with your time, but for whatever reason, you've chosen to spend this few minutes with me. What I'm going to share with you today, it was a statement that was made to me. Actually, it's been made to me a couple of times that I always find really, really interesting. I've done quite a few Java with Jim episodes. I've written a lot of articles. I think most of you know I've written a couple of books and been a contributor to a couple of other books. And what people will say to me is that when I write or when I speak, I simplify things. I make things really, really simple. And the question is it really that simple? Is life that simple? And that's where I just have to kind of chuckle, because life is simple. When you think of life just in and of itself, life just unfolds perfectly. There isn't any hindrance to it. We see plants growing through concrete. And we might say, well, that was difficult for the plant. Well, was it? We don't know that. But the plant grew through the concrete. It just did. There wasn't anything holding the plant back from growing in the concrete. We also see things like, and I guess an example that I use is that you can be standing there looking at your backyard in the evening, and your backyard is mowed and it looks really nice. There's no weeds, there's no nothing in it. And the next morning you wake up and you look in the backyard and you've got mushrooms there. Well, what caused the mushrooms to grow? Well, they grew because life unfolded in its perfection. There was nothing that was holding it back. And to me, that's the way life is and should be for us. However, we are the ones that make it more complicated. We're the ones that make it more complex than it needs to be. And in fact, I use a term that I think, well, it combines the two, and the term is simplexity. We bring simplexity to life. So when I write and when I speak, I do try to make it simple, because I want everyone to understand that the things that we do in life, the things that we have the opportunity to do in life, are really, really simple. It is nothing more than a matter of choice. It's about getting clear. Obviously, before you make the best choice possible, you have to be clear on what it is you want to experience, and then you make a choice according to that. However, how many times have you maybe not had a complete idea of where you wanted to go in life, how you wanted to end up, what you wanted to create, what you wanted to experience, and you made a choice that resulted in whatever it is you were trying to do being more difficult than it needed to be? Had you not made that choice, had you just allowed whatever it was you were trying to experience or create just unfold naturally, would it have been simpler? And I would suppose that it would be. Again, we tend to make choices and add complexity to situations where it's not necessary. We can think about relationships that we've had. What have you done in a relationship that made the relationship more difficult, more complex? What have you done in work that has made your work more difficult, more complex, where it didn't need to be? What would have happened if you had just allowed whatever it was that you were trying to experience or create just to unfold in its simple perfection, as it was, as it shows up? Now, that doesn't mean that we just sit back and we don't do anything. We obviously have to become fully engaged in the way that life unfolds. Otherwise, all we'll be dealing with is what shows up. And what shows up is going to show up based on our thoughts and our beliefs, choices we make, and actions that we take. And if we're not conscious of that, we're going to have things show up that we're not necessarily looking for, but it's going to be what shows up, because that's where we have put our intention, that's where we've put our energy, that's where our thoughts are, where our beliefs are, and then we make choices against that. So think about this whole idea of life being simple, which it is, and it is intended to be simple. And in fact, the different thoughts we have about life and the way that life works, it is simple, but we, for some reason, as humans, believe that when something is simple, or in the way that we might put it, too simple, we don't place as much value on it. We feel that something has to be challenging. We feel that something has to be not necessarily a struggle, although many times that's what we end up with, is a struggle. We feel that it has to be that way for it to be meaningful, for it to for it to justify or be justified by what we get as the end result to it. And why is that? Why do we feel that it has to be difficult? We talk often about the simple pleasures of life and how if we were to stop and just enjoy, just embrace, just allow the simple things in life, how much different life would be. And yet we don't do that. So that's another choice that we make, where life would be simple if we just allowed and we took in all that life was presenting, but instead we make a different choice that creates some complex or some in my terms, simplexity to life that wasn't necessary. Now I want to make sure that I'm making sense here. I'm not quite sure that I am, quite honestly. The whole point of this is that I speak in simple terms because I do believe life is simple. I do believe that once we become clear on what it is we want, how we want to be, what we want to experience, what we want to create, once we become clear on it, our choices are simple and our choices should be clear. The challenge is that we have thoughts and beliefs we hold, most of which that are not true. They're limiting in nature. They prevent us from making a choice that would allow us to actually get into life, engage with life, participate in life in the way that life would have us participate in it. That would bring us the results that we're looking for. So why do we do that? Well, we can get into it's the way I was raised, it was the way this particular experience happened, it was the way that somebody treated me, it's just what I believe, or you could even say that it's something from a previous lifetime, if you want, that was carried forward. And yet, when you think about life in general, nothing that has happened to this point matters. What matters is what we do from this point forward. And that again is about getting clear, and then it's about making choices and decisions that would move us in the direction of whatever it is we want to create and experience. So this morning when I was thinking about this whole idea of life being simple and the whole idea of simplexity and how we bring complex, or we bring complexity to the simple aspects of life, what is it we can do to be more engaged with life, to have life become more simple for us? Well, the first thing is we have to allow life. We have to allow it to unfold in its perfection the way that it's going to unfold. And then we have to be willing to receive it. Are we open and receptive to all that life is giving us? Or are we setting up roadblocks? Are we setting up really any kind of a block that would prevent us from receiving the fullness of life, which in fact is the intention of life? We wouldn't be here if we weren't to receive and be worthy of everything that life has to offer, each and every one of us. It withholds nothing from anyone. So we have to be receptive to it. We have to allow it in. So first of all, we have to allow it to unfold, then we have to receive it. We have to fully receive it, and in that receiving of it, we have to embrace it. We have to take it as our own. We have to take advantage of it. We have to, you see when I'm talking about embracing, I'm putting my hands forward like I'm hugging it. We have to bring it to us. We have to bring it to us, and we have to hold it in. We have to recognize that we are worthy of it. We have to recognize that we are capable of doing whatever we want to do in life based on the fact that we're here, and that is what life would want for us. So by embracing it, we're bringing it in, we're receiving it, we're bringing it in, we're calling it to ourselves and holding it in. And then we have to have the experience of it. Whatever that is that we're trying to create, accomplish, be, experience, we have to have the experience of it. Now we can get back to the allowing again. We have to allow the experience of whatever that is. And in the allowing of the experience, again, we take it in, we're receiving it, we're embracing it. And as we receive it, as we embrace it, as we have the experience of it, it then becomes somewhat of a part of us, and we start to express it. So we express it, we talk about it, we make further decisions that would allow us to move closer and closer to the end result that we're working towards. And so we express it. It just becomes a part of who we are. And then as we express it, we further embody it. We actually become it, whatever that is. So we become the expression of whatever it is we're trying to create, experience, or allow. It just becomes the way that we are. And as we become that way, the way that we are, as we allow that truth of who we are to be the expression that we are putting out into the world, we see that life is simple. We don't get hung up. We don't get stuck in judgment. We don't get stuck in any of the criticisms, any of the challenges. I'm even having a difficult time coming up with the words, but it's all that we would bring into our own lives that would prevent the full experience and expression of the truth of who we are. And to me, that's what we're here for. We're here to allow the truth of who we are to be fully received, fully embraced, fully experienced, fully expressed, and then we become the expression of that truth of who we are. So when you look at your life, when you think about what you've done to this point, again, not criticizing it, not judging it, just accepting this is what has happened in my life, this is where I am in my life, this is who I am at this moment in this life. Let it go. None of that matters anymore. The question is, what are you going to do right now? The question is, how are you bringing complexity to your life? What are you doing? What choices are you making that are holding you back from being that full expression? Are the decisions you're making taking you closer to whatever it is you want to experience and express? Are they taking you closer to who it is you want to be and who it is you want to fully express? Are the decisions you're making taking you closer to the truth or further from the truth? And when you think about whether or not the choices and decisions you are making taking you closer to who it is you want to be and what you want to experience, does that make your life more complex? When you think about the decisions you make that might be taking you further and further away from the truth, does that make your life more complex? And I would suggest that it does. So what's the key to all of this? Well, first and foremost, again, it's about allowing life to be as life is, not accepting it as it is because we're fully participating in it. We are what's creating the experiences that we have, but as we create these experiences, allow them to happen, allow them to unfold, receive it fully, embrace it, hold it in, take it in as what you have created and have the full experience of it. It obviously boils down to, what is it you want out of life? Who is it you want to be? How do you want to be experienced in life? How do you want to create in life? And I'm not saying these in any particular order, but just as a way to create some different thoughts, create a higher level of awareness, create a higher level of consciousness. I think we all know that the higher a level of consciousness, the more simple life becomes. And that all happens by embracing and experiencing and expressing the truth of who we are. And that is done through the choices we make, the beliefs we hold, the mindset that we have, our willingness to allow life to be what it is, to unfold in its simplicity, and to step away from the simplexity of life. What we're creating as a result of how we're not allowing life, how we're not receiving life, how we're not embracing life, how we're not experiencing life to the degree that we can. Hope this makes sense. Hope you got some benefit from what I just said. I always love to have your comments, questions, new topics that you would like me to speak on. Life is what we make of it and what it makes of us. Enjoy. Until next time, I'm Jim Phillips with Java with Jim. See you then.